Hey, crafty friends, thank you very much for joining me. This is Anat Kessler with Saturday Extravaganza, and I'm going to create a special mixed media art journal page for my birthday, which will be on Monday, and I'm going to be 42. So, this is a special page for that. I'm going to start with some Spellbinders Embossabilities folder. It has a really beautiful letters on one side and numbers on the other side, and I'm going to create just a few papers of texture that I'm gonna glue on my art journaling page. So in case you haven't used it before, then you put a piece of paper inside the folder and you use A and C plates and the folder. That's it. And it goes through the machine. And I'll need 2 pieces of paper. Look at the beautiful embossing effect that it has. And what I want to do is put on the I'm going to put these papers first, just to protect the other papers of the art journal. And with some gel medium, I'm going to glue the pieces of the embossed white paper to my art journal page. Now I'm cutting the margins that are not embossed, and I'm just tearing pieces from the embossed paper. Of course, I used the numbers side of the folder and not the letters because I want the numbers. So I'm going to glue this down with some gel medium. Make sure that when you're embossing, you're using kind of thick paper, maybe even cardstock, because just regular paper will not do. Because basically an embossing folder changes the face of the paper and creates this nice texture that a normal paper would just tear. So I'm adding these pieces here to create texture on my page. I'm just going to do the fold there. Now I'm taking a little bit of gesso and I will cover the entire page. And it's always good to cover your page with some gesso, because then the page will not absorb all the other materials that you put on it, like sprays or paints or things like that, and then it won't curl and it won't tear. So that is like priming your page and adding a protective coat on it. Now what I want to do also is sort of fill the points where the edge of my embossed paper meets the actual page of my art journal, because they're not the same height since there's cardstock on cardstock. So what I want to do is use my finger and just fill in that point where they meet, so I will have an even playing field, so to speak, and there won't be like a small step that is visible. I hope that makes sense for you guys. another piece here of embossed paper on the bottom. And I'm not using gel medium for that piece because the whole page is wet with gesso and I'm not sure it will stick very well, so I just use my tacky glue and I'm covering it with some more gesso. Okay, so now it's spraying time. I'm gonna spray this page. I'm basically using green, orange, and yellow. You have the exact brands and color names. The beginning of the video, there's the list there. Now you can see how the embossing pattern is now really visible because of the color that I sprayed. And I'm also going to add some more color with some distress ink. I'm using a few colors that match the sprays, and I'm going over like the same areas. If I sprayed with green, then I would go over it with green ink as well, and on the orange areas I would go over it with some orange distress ink. You have the exact names on the materials list. I just want to enhance the colors even more. That was the ink that I used at the end. So now a bit of stamping with my Inkadinkado number stamps. I'm going to use basically all the numbers to add more numbers to my page, and I'm going to use archival ink, sepia archival ink, and all the other distress inks that I used for the background. And I'm not even using an acrylic block, I'm just using my hands, and I'm going to add all those numbers here and there in different colors. Also adding a darker green. So I think I'm happy with all my numbers, and I'm going to use this little stamp here that also has small numbers on it, and it has the days written on top, so I'm just going to use the middle part of the stamp where the numbers are and add a little bit more texture. Again, I'm not using an acrylic block. What I'm going to do is bend the stamp a little bit and just use the middle part of it where the numbers are. Can even roll it a little bit. See, only the middle part. Just roll it a little bit and I'll get the numbers to show. So I think by now you have realized that the whole theme of the art journal page is going to be about numbers, right? So now just taking a scrap piece of pattern paper, it's by Tim Holtz and it also has numbers on it. And I'm gonna cut the numbers 4 and 2 to make 42, which would be my age on Monday. Gonna treat them a little bit, gonna cover them with some distress, the same distress inks and some stamping, and so they'll match the entire color scheme of my art journal page. So I'm gonna go over the pattern paper with a different kind of distress inks, blending them together. It's really weird for me to be 42. I feel very old. So what I want to do with this page is just remind myself that that's just a number. It doesn't mean anything, and the most important thing is the way that you feel inside. And if you feel young and vibrant and active and then this is what you are. And 42 is just a number. It doesn't mean anything, right? Gonna go over it with some stamping, just a little bit for more things on the more texture. A little bit more red there to make it pop out more on the page, and I'm gonna add it to my page now with some glue. And then what I'm gonna do is write my "it's just a number" sentence on a piece of just white paper. Just gonna write it with with a pen, not print it in the computer or anything fancy like that. Just write it down, cut it with scissors, add a little bit of color with the distress inks that I used, and add it to my page. So I'm just eyeballing it. I don't even, measure anything or work with a ruler. I just cut it like, it seems pretty straight, and I wouldn't mind if it wouldn't be straight, because it's just pieces of paper and that I've written on, and that's the whole point. It doesn't have to be completely straight. So I'm just going to go over them with some inks, add a little bit of color, and then they'll be ready to be glued on my art journal page. And it is so much fun creating art journal pages. This is like my new favorite thing. My hands get really dirty, and that's a lot of fun too. I feel like I'm really creating, and I really also like that my pages would have a theme like this one with a message. And since art journal pages are personal, so the message is, for myself. So I'm just adding my words here, figuring out which word is supposed to go where. Well, not there, yeah. And I think I'm gonna add a little bit more numbers just with a black pen, just writing numbers here and there, because that's what they are after all, numbers. So I'm just with a pen. After everything is dry, then there's no problem going on your page with a pen and write. But if you try to do it when it's wet, then your pen's gonna be destroyed. Pens don't like wet surfaces with colors and gessos and all kinds of mediums, so make sure everything is dry before you go and write stuff down with your pen. So I think I kind of like this page, how it turned out, and I'm going to show it to you how it looks. So this is my finished page, and I want to thank all of you for joining me to this video tutorial. Remember that age is just a number, and everything in your mind is what counts. Whatever you feel like. If you're young, then you're young. It doesn't matter how old you are. So I'm going to celebrate my birthday on Monday, and thank you very much for joining me. I hope you were inspired. I had a lot of fun, and I hope you'll have some fun creating art journal pages yourself. And I'll see you all next time on Saturday in another video tutorial. Have fun, you guys. Have a great weekend. Have a great week. Bye.